Welcome back. Time now for some sports news, and Kayode is serving off with the man who's making tennis headlines.
Welcome to Sports News. Andy Murray will become the world #1 for the first time after Milos Raonic withdrew from their Paris Masters semi-final clash. Murray needed only to reach the final in Paris after Novak Djokovic lost to Marin Cilic in Friday's quarter-final, but Raonic announced before Saturday's match that he was injured. Murray will be the first British singles player to hold top spot since computerized rankings began in 1973. He will assume his new position when the ATP rankings are released next Monday. Meanwhile, John Isner cruised to a straight sets victory over Marin Cilic to set up a Paris Masters final with new world #1 Andy Murray. Ninth seed Cilic went into the contest as favourite, having knocked out Novak Djokovic in the previous round. But the Croatian was undone by an excellent performance from Isner, who needed just an hour and 11 minutes to wrap up a 6-4, 6-3 victory. The victory also confirms that Isner will finish the year as the #1 American for the 5th consecutive year. Back home in Nigeria and in football, FC Ifeanyi Ubah will confront the Premier League rivals Nasarawa United in the final of the 2016 Federations Cup tomorrow at the Teslim Balogun Stadium in Lagos. This is the first time these two clubs will play in the final of the oldest football competition in Nigeria. FC Ifeanyi Ubah defeated Giant Killers Crown FC 2-1, while Nasarawa United shocked tournament favourites Enyimba FC 1-0 to set the tone for an epic clash. Meanwhile, the Nigeria Football Federation (NFF) has announced that the Teslim Balogun Stadium will be open for fans to watch the game for free. Nigeria has named 3 foreign professionals in their squad for FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup in Papua New Guinea, which begins on Sunday, November the 13th. The foreign professionals are goalkeeper Christy Ohiariaku, Chinwendu Ihezwo and Aminat Yakubu. Nigeria Under-20 women's team are led by coach Peter the Devil, and they will fly out of the country tomorrow evening. Nigeria, who finished as runners-up at the 2014 edition in Canada, will be playing Japan, Canada and Spain in the group phase. And those are the major stories in the world of sports. I'm Kayode Alayande. Thanks for watching. The news continues in just a moment.
In defiance to the call for him to step down as president of South Africa, Jacob Zuma has declared that he's not afraid to go to jail. Mr. Zuma, who was speaking publicly for the first time since the release of an anti-corruption report, told supporters today that having been incarcerated during apartheid, going to prison is not an issue. Following a report released last week which accused him of influencing government appointments and business deals, thousands of protesters have called for the president's sack. And the U.S. presidential candidates Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump are set to campaign in Florida, a key battleground state that could decide who wins the election. Florida is the largest swing state and is a must-win for Mr. Trump, who goes to North Carolina before heading west to Nevada. In recent days, opinion polls have suggested that Mr. Trump is gaining support, but he still remains behind Mrs. Clinton. U.S. President Barack Obama won Florida in 2012 by a margin of just 0.9% over Republican Mitt Romney. And at least 17 civilians have been killed by a roadside bomb in Iraq as they fled from a northern town held by the Islamic State. Several families were riding in a truck when the bomb hit near Kirkuk. The deaths come as Iraqi government-led forces pushed the attack on Mosul, the last city still occupied by ISIS.
Iraqis fleeing the Islamic State stronghold of Mosul reunited with their loved ones on Saturday at Kayser refugee camp in the east of the city. Some families who had not seen one another for more than 2 years met at the site for an emotional reunion. Men, women and children can be seen hugging and kissing as many more waited anxiously outside the camp's fence. Kayser camp's inhabitants have to stay there until they have cleared security screening and other checks. Thousands of people have left Mosul since Iraq's regular troops and special forces, along with Shiite militias, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters and other groups backed by US-led airstrikes launched their campaign to retake the city nearly 3 weeks ago. At least 22,000 people have been displaced since the start of the Mosul offensive, according to the United Nations, excluding thousands of others from nearby villages forced back to the city by retreating Islamic State fighters who used them as human shields. Meanwhile, trade between Iraq and neighboring Turkey has taken a hit over the last 3 years due to Islamic State occupying Iraq's second-largest city of Mosul. 3 years ago, Iraq was Turkey's second-largest trading partner, with bilateral trade upwards of $14 billion annually, mostly made up of construction materials, food and clothing. However, since ISIS took control of major areas of Iraq, both economies have suffered.
2013, it's further than $11 billion. After that, in 2014, it's only $9 billion. Today, when I speak with you, the exportation from Turkey to Iraq, it not be further than $7 billion.
Currently, tensions are rising between Ankara and Baghdad over Turkey's military role fighting terrorists in northern Iraq, which could place further pressure on their already suffering trade relations.
And the main news again. President Muhammadu Buhari restates Nigeria's potential for greatness amid the challenges she is currently facing. The president said this in Sokoto, where he attended the 10th anniversary of the coronation of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sa'ad Abubakar III. Troops rescue another girl, Miriam, who was kidnapped alongside over 200 girls from the government secondary school in Chibok, Borno State. And that wraps up the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Melinda Akinwami.